Good morning, buenos dias, bonjour, buongiorno, bom dia, guten tag, good morgen, konnichiwa, ni hao, xin chao, and assalamu alaikum, my friends. Welcome to Managua, Nicaragua. We're on top of the highest hill in the city. It's midday, it's absolutely roasting. Here behind us we've got the silhouette of General Sandino, as well as the giant flag of Nicaragua and the FSLN. I brought you up here, guys, because it's a perfect place to start this journey in Nicaragua, politically and geographically. So we'll start with geographically because it's a little bit less controversial. So this is the main part of the city over here, probably the only skyscraper in the whole city. This is because it's an earthquake prone city, which we'll talk about more shortly. The lake beyond it, we've got a massive shoreline and a malecon, which we're going to explore shortly. We have the silhouette here of Augusto Sandino, the revolutionary, the anti-imperialist, the inspiration for generations of Nicaraguans. Here we find a mosaic here as well. Sorry, it's bad lighting, it's in the shade. Sandino and the crazy little army. And what is quite possibly the smallest tank I've ever seen. Just to give you a bit of scale, that's me crouching down. This place is completely empty. Got it pretty much to myself. There's a little cafeteria out the back of the mosaic with a few people in, but other than that I'm just walking about here on my own. I don't know if it's because of the scorching hot weather, or is Managua always this empty? Possibly because it's Christmas Eve, but then again I was up here 2 days ago and it was equally empty. And I found the same thing in other public spaces in Managua as well, but then the traffic on the roads would be horrendous. So who knows where they're trying to get to, because it's not the public spaces. I didn't hear many good things about Managua. I was told it was dirty, polluted, dangerous, hot, ugly, yada yada yada. I heard the same things about Guatemala City, Belize City and San Salvador, and I had a good time in those places, so I'm well willing to give Managua a chance. While we're out and about today, guys, we're going to be seeing a lot of these. These are the Managua Árboles de la Vida, the trees of life. And there's around 140 of these installed throughout the city. You won't be surprised to hear they commemorate the revolution. Now, one thing you might notice about the cityscape here is there are hardly any high buildings. There's this one here, there's the Crown Plaza Hotel here in the foreground, a small glass structure over there and another one. This is because it's such an earthquake prone area. There's buildings that have actually been bombed out by earthquakes all around the city. The main one being a cathedral, which we're going to have a look at. The last big earthquake was in 1972, and that leveled most of the buildings in the city, and they've had to rebuild it all. Let's go and get in amongst it. Let's see what the second largest city in Central America has to offer. ¿Qué fue este edificio? Hotel. ¿Eso por el terremoto? Sí. Ah, interesante. ¿Y qué va a hacer?
Hotel y night club.
¿En serio? Ah, qué bien, qué bien. Gracias. So the viewpoint I was just showing you there, guys, it is in the middle of a large army compound. I don't want to show you too much. Don't want to get in trouble. And so you've got all these information boards here about the anti-imperialist struggle. Puede tomar foto, no? Gracias. So yeah, I like to always get permission first before taking photos. He said it was okay. This is a huge military complex, and this is the only sort of road that you can go up, and then you can go up to the viewpoint. And over there as well, you can see, I'll zoom in, Zona Militar, military zone, all down there as well. And here we are now, down in the city, down in the thick of things. Lots of traffic, as you can hear and see. And over here we've got a very interesting roundabout. Hopefully you can see that. That's Hugo Chavez, the president of Venezuela. Now, we all have our opinions, I think, on Mr. Chavez. I have my opinions. I won't disclose them right now on camera, but whatever your opinion on him is, I probably share that same opinion. Oh, let's get across the road. Not only does he have his own roundabout, which is on one of the busiest streets and most famous streets of Managua. He also has his own restaurant over here. So by the looks of it, they do quesadillas, pupusas, that kind of thing, maybe arepas, which would be a bit more Venezuelan. And this is one of Managua's best known streets, Avenida Simón Bolívar, named after the revolutionary who took Venezuela and other countries back from the Spanish, freed those countries from colonial eras. Interestingly, Bolívar, he gave his name to the country of Bolivia, but then around Bolivia you still have Venezuela, which means Little Venice, and Colombia, which is named after Christopher Columbus. So those countries kind of still hold their colonial title. So it's Christmas Eve, and pretty much this whole street is a nativity scene. There's nativity everywhere. They've cut off these two lanes, the outside lanes, on each direction, and turned them into pedestrian areas for everyone to admire the nativity scenes. I'm trying to get it all in one frame here, guys. There we go. Tree of Life, flag, nativity scene. So Managua is only about just over 200 years old, and it's been capital since 1852. It isn't a historic city like Leon and Granada. The reason it's capital because those two cities, Leon and Granada, kept squabbling. Granada is a more conservative city, Leon being a more liberal city, and so they had to find a compromise, and Managua became that compromise. A cacique is an Indian chief, Adiact Diriangén, who gives his name to the national football stadium, and Nicaragua, and that is the chief who gives his name to the country, Cacique Nicaragua. There aren't quite as many chicken buses here in Nicaragua as there are further north in Guatemala and El Salvador. There's more of these sort of white modern buses, but a few chicken buses do still make their way down here. Puedes comprar uno de cada uno, ¿ok? Pues así es justo. Vale. A ver, ¿cómo te llamas tú?
Evelyn.
Evelyn. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Cristian Isaí Luna.
¿Cómo?
Yo Cristian Isaí Luna.
Ah, es un largo nombre, ¿no? ¿Y tú?
Juan David Rayo Luna.
Ah,
Layo.
And thanks to those kids and their pushy sales techniques, I now have enough chewing gum to last me until next Christmas. As you see, guys, Christmas is done in a very more conservative, less consumerist kind of way here in Nicaragua. Instead of Mariah Carey and Slade blaring out on the speakers everywhere, they're still playing reggaeton. We have messages like, Hallelujah, the Messiah has been born. Chicken bus. You cannot stop commercialism, guys, even in a conservative Christmas country. This blew me a kiss. Even in a conservative Catholic country, you cannot stop commercialism. That cheeky little advert in the middle there for Petronic. Just here we have the National Palace, one of the few buildings that survived the earthquake of 1972. It looks like a good, solid building. Once again, guys, the square feels very quiet. There's two people sat on benches in the shade, but otherwise it's just me and you. And if you found that square strange, wait until you see this one. This is the Plaza de la Revolución, Revolution Square, around the back of the National Palace. As you can see, it's absolutely adorned with Christmas ornaments. But where are the people? One person over there. That's it. Maybe it comes alive at night. We'll find out later. But over here is the old cathedral, designed by a Belgian in the 1920s and destroyed in 1972 during the earthquake. Can't go inside, it's too dangerous, which is a massive shame because I'd love to see it. I guess this lady works there. I hope she works there. But what a beautiful building. And I love that they've kept it here as well. They could have just demolished it, rebuilt it, but no, just leave it as it is. I like that. Feels like just yesterday when we were all concerned about the millennium bug and planes dropping out of the sky and all the computers blowing up 25 years ago. We're just coming down to the lakeside now, and the trees of life have really ramped up a notch. Another huge square, more Christmas ornaments, and still very few people. There's a few more down here, a few kids, a few families. The golden statue of Simón Bolívar, the military leader who led Venezuela, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Panama and Bolivia, the country that bore his name, to freedom from the Spanish. And here are the very choppy waters of Lake Managua, or Xolotlan. Well folks, we've been quite unlucky. I was expecting one or two things to be closed for Christmas Eve. Everything's closed. Everything down here is closed. I'm here for a few more days, guys. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click my fingers and we're going to be a few days ahead, alright? It's Christmas Day, 4:30. It's grey and it's raining. So what I've been told, guys, is that on Christmas Day in the evening, everyone heads down to the port that we were at yesterday, and everyone goes promenading, and the lights come on and it's beautiful. Now the weather might impair that a little bit, but it should be good. It's going to be dark in about an hour. Let's see what happens. Mariachis in Nicaragua. Yo soy de Inglaterra. Sí. Sí. Fluido. Británico. Inglés británico. ¿Y tú? Inglés americano. Ajá. Awesome.
¿Tiene red social en Instagram?
See? There were two security guards in front of this building just there, and I wanted to take a picture of the building because it's quite nice. It was all well, it was a pretty ugly building. It was like a really sort of socialist, communist sort of Soviet looking building, but it had all this nice Christmas decorations and it's quite a nice contrast. I wanted to take a picture of it. I asked the security guards, and one of them said yes, one of them said no, and so in the end to sort of compromise, and I took a picture of just the statue of the president Daniel Ortega and the Christmas tree. So as you saw earlier, guys, the barrio was pretty lively earlier on, but here where the businesses are, it's pretty dead. Over here on the left is the military place. I won't show too much of that, I don't want to get in trouble. So back at the Hugo Chavez roundabout, all lit up. And the Hugo Chavez restaurant is busy. I quite fancy a beer, but it looks rather busy in there. Well, it turns out they don't do beer anyway. Where's the Weatherspoons when you need one? So this is Tonya, the Nicaraguan most famous beer. It's just a lager, guys. They all taste the same, don't they? Budweiser, San Miguel, Peroni. You know the score, they all taste the same. It's a massive assault on the senses. The cars going by, the noise, the lights, the amount of people, the smells. There's so much going on. Even the chicken bus looks Christmassy. Wow guys, there's so many people out tonight. Look at the flowers on this tree. I didn't even notice these yesterday. Oh wow, okay. So this place really comes alive at night. Look at this Christmas castle, this is crazy. And you can't go very far in Managua without seeing the silhouette of Sandino. Right, we're here in the middle of Managua, Christmas Day, just walking around. There's loads of people about, and look, just a horse cutting about on one of the main squares. Welcome to Nicaragua. This is definitely the best chicken bus terminal that I have seen so far. Look at that, beautiful. So pro tip guys, if you're ever here in Managua, summer or sumer as they call it here, is like the premium restaurant. This is a posh restaurant. Even by US and European standards, this is quite a pricey restaurant. This is 8 o'clock on Christmas Day, 8 o'clock PM, and there's all these people about. There's a cocktail bar, there's a theme park here. Here's the line to get in. Nicaragua ama la paz. Nicaragua loves peace.
De las 4 de la tarde hasta que la noche pierda su nombre.
Wow, that was crazy. Every type of food you can imagine, and lots of noise. My ears are ringing. The best thing about it was that there's nobody trying to pull you into their restaurant, and nobody hustling you. Well guys, the weather has turned. It's started to rain a little bit. I've just got myself an enchilada. I've never seen an enchilada like this in Mexico, but this is the way that Nicaraguans do it, I guess. That big, giant, fried, cheesy thing, that's going to do good for the waistline. Well guys, they told me to avoid Managua, and I'm glad I didn't listen. I quite enjoyed being here. Sure, it's not a city that's particularly geared up for tourism, but since when has that been a bad thing? So by the time this video goes out, it'll be too late to wish you a Merry Christmas, so I'll wish you a happy 2025. Thank you for watching. Good morning, buenos dias, bon dia, buongiorno, bonjour, guten tag, good morgen, dzień dobry, dobre dan, konnichiwa, xing chao, so close.